Term limits on every elected office in American government would be a great start towards reining in our ever-growing governments. The Constitution was put in place as a means to constrain the power of government. But in the centuries since its signing, government has come to only pay lip service to those constraints. We've seen new agencies born, despite the lack of a constitutional mandate for these. Worse, these agencies have been afforded de facto lawmaking abilities, and that's definitely not constitutional. Nowhere in the Constitution is the Congress permitted to delegate its role as the nation's legislative body, and certainly not to unelected bureaucrats in executive branch agencies. So how do we get term limits? Congressmen and women and senators are unlikely to vote for term limits, because limiting them to a certain number of terms would impede their ability to build their wealth on the backs of the American taxpayers. Term limits would make it more difficult for them to use their positions for personal gain. Term limits would put an end to the growing trend towards the rise of an ersatz aristocracy in America. Maybe if we could find one like-minded member of Congress to propose the following plan, we the people could see term limits passed. But it's gonna take some work. We need a name for our bill. In classic federal government fashion, we should give it a name that is opposite of what it does. Remember, they'll never vote to limit their own money and power. So let's call it giving more money and power to federal elected officials, or something like that. Now, we'll need a co-sponsor. Shouldn't be difficult for our sponsor to find a corrupt, power-hungry member to sign on to our bill with its amazing name. Then we'll need to get media and special interest groups involved in promoting our bill, so more wannabe aristocrats will want to be a part of the movement. Maybe we even need to hire a lobbying group and a public relations firm to help gin up interest. Now, for the crucial step, we need to ensure the bill is enormous. It's gotta be several thousand pages, filled with fluff, like naming bridges and schools, with term limits stuck in somewhere near the end. Since they don't read these bills before voting on them, bigger is better. Finally, we need a corrupt, wannabe aristocrat like Pelosi, who, at the moment of voting on the bill to grow government power, will say something like, "We have to pass this bill so we can find out all the good things in the bill." Once it's passed, we'd have a term-limited federal government. We'd finally be on the path to restoring power to we the people, as was intended by our nation's founders. Will it ever happen? We the people can only hope.